just we simplified his movements back, and that helped to kind of give that slightly, as you observed, that slightly eerie edge to him.
Yes, and slightly more like Feathers McGraw actually, because he's controlling them. So.
Yeah.
Good grief, it's you again. It's vengeance, Most Fowl.
Nick, one of my favorite aspects of Wallace and Gromit is that the characters and content they're in maintains the duo's purity and classic feel. Have you ever felt any pressure to update the characters for new generations, or is sticking to their roots part of their appeal?
Well, they not for those reasons at all. But the characters have kind of evolved over the films. In a natural way. That they do. Like Mickey Mouse. Evolved from the very first drawings. And as more people have worked on it, and we've had to get it so that more people can animate it and establish the style a little more in different ways. But that's not because of any audience or feeling the need to update them for audiences. That we stick to the basic. The materials do change a bit over time as well in terms of making things quicker to animate, but there's a basic authenticity at the heart of it all about real materials, clay. The expressiveness of what you can do with claymation is at the very heart of it all.
I love that. I love that it's still so authentic all these years later. Merlin, you've worked as a creative director on Wallace and Gromit shorts in the past and as a key animator for Curse of the Were-Rabbit. How does it feel to step onto a full-length Wallace and Gromit feature as a co-director?
Both thrilling and very frightening all at the same time. You're right. I first animated Wallace and Gromit back on Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and so I've had an amazing sort of creative journey with Wallace and Gromit. And when Nick asked me to join him in the director chair for Vengeance Most Fowl, it was just amazing to be asked. And I always knew that feature films were, and I've worked on a lot of feature films, but never in a director's chair. And I always knew they were a lot of work, but I didn't quite realize how much work it is. And it is quite a sizable gear change from even directing a half hour. But I love the challenge. I've had great fun, and I was delighted that Nick asked me.
Excellent. My next question is for both of you. Garden gnomes were terrifying enough before introducing Norbot to the mix. Could you tell me Norbot's origin story, and how long did it take you to strike a balance between unnerving and adorable for his design? Nick, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, that's full of observation, that question. Yeah, oh boy. I mean, in terms of designing him, you mean the backstory or the character? Yeah, well, actually, initially, that he... I mean, all these characters start off as doodles and sketchbooks, and they keep evolving. I mean, he's always had a basic design, not physically. We haven't got a puppet of him here. But, for example, I think it's just because I haven't really thought it through, but he had like quite an organic Wallace-like mouth to start with that could have been clay. But as we got closer to the design, we decided to give him like a ventriloquist dummy kind of mouth on a hinge, and that was in a way more sinister. And obviously it's playing on all those movies that you use clowns and dolls' faces and ventriloquist dummies.
It's a bit more mechanical as well,
more mechanical, yeah.
And when we started to look at the prototype puppet and do some animation development testing with him, we realized quite early on that actually paring him back so that he didn't move too naturally was very important. Otherwise, he looked like a human in a suit. And we always needed to have that connection with the fact that Wallace had made him and it was a machine. But at the same time, if he's too machine-like, you don't have empathy with him. So that was a very fine balance to find, but good fun as well. Things like he had eyebrows that were quite articulate, and his pupils moved. But we found that when we did, even doing that was too much. So in the end, his pupils stayed and his brow stayed, and he kind of gave him this fixed stare, and kind of it's just we simplified his movements back, and that helped to kind of give that slightly, as you observed, that slightly eerie edge to him.
Yes, and slightly more like Feathers McGraw actually, because he's controlling them. So, alter ego Feathers McGraw.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, gentlemen, very much for your time. I love the movie, and this has been just amazing. So I hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you so much. You too.
And lovely to talk to you. Thank you.